guys, welcome to Unisys Weekly Fundamental Analysis. So first of all, as usual, let's look at the dollar index. So the US non-agricultural employment data slump hits the dollar. Data released by the US Department of Labor on Friday showed that non-agricultural employment increased by 266,000 in April, far less than the expected 1 million. The March data was revised downward to an increase of 77,000. The unemployment rate rose slightly to 6.1%. After the data was released, the US dollar index fell sharply, falling 0.72% for the first time in the late trading, approaching the 90 mark, setting a new low of nearly 2.5 months. The weekly decline of 1.16% is also the largest decline since December last year. Since the beginning of the April, the current round of decline in the US dollar has fallen by 3.2%. Next, let's look at the pound. The Bank of England stands still but slows down its bond purchases. On Thursday, the Bank of England announced that it will maintain its 0.1% interest rate resolution unchanged and maintain its May asset purchase target of £875 billion. The bank said that unless there are signs that the inflation rate can continue to be maintained above the target level of 2%, it will not tighten policy. So regarding to the speed of bond purchases, the Bank of England stated that the size of central bank's corporate bond purchase of £20 billion in May will slow the pace of weekly bond purchases. The bank said this move should not be interpreted as a change in the stance of monetary policy. The Bank of England predicts that the CPI will increase by 2.5% in 2021, and the previous forecast is 2%. The GDP in 2021 is expected to grow by 7.25%, and the previous forecast is 5%, which is higher than analyst expectations. With the acceleration of the British people COVID-19 vaccination process, the Bank of England is more optimistic about the economy recovery. Next, let's look at the Aussie dollar. So, the Reserve Bank of Australia says it will consider further quantitative easing in July. The Reserve Bank of Australia announced on Tuesday that both of the benchmark interest rate and the 3-year Treasury bond yield target remain unchanged at 0.1%, maintaining the parameters of the government bond purchase plan. Chairman Lovell said that he is currently paying close attention to the real estate market, so the real estate price have skyrocketed, and the demand for the first home purchases is very strong. The Reserve Bank of Australia said it will consider further quantitative easing at its July meeting to help achieve full employment and inflation targets. At the same time, the Reserve Bank of Australia also said that the CPI increase in the second quarter of this year may temporarily exceed 3%, and the basic inflation rate in 2021 is expected to be 1.5% and 2% in mid-2023. Regarding the unemployment rate will be around 5% at the end of 2021 and 4.5% at the end of 2022. Lastly, let's look at the Canadian dollar. So the Canadian jobs plummeted by more than 200,000 in April. Data released by the Statistics Canada on Friday showed that Canada's job losses in April exceeded expectations as the new restrictions introduced to curb the third wave of the COVID-19 caused by the mutated virus put pressure on the employers. Canada lost about 207,000 jobs in April, higher than the 175,000 average analyst estimate. The unemployment rate climbed to 8.1%, which was less than the 7.8% expected by the analysts, and the employment rate is now 2.6% lower than a pre-pandemic level. Full-time jobs decreased by 129,000 and part-time jobs decreased by 77,800. Alright, so coming up next is the forex calendar for next week. So for traders, we're going to trade. Please set your stop loss point, as whenever there's news, it'll be volatile. Alright, so that's all for today. Thanks for watching.